The Dodge Viper is a sports car that was manufactured by Dodge, by SRT for 2013 and 2014, a division of American car manufacturer FCA from 1992 until 2017, having taken a brief hiatus in 2007 and from 2010 to 2012. Production of the two-seat supercar began at New Mack Assembly Plant in 1991 and moved to Connor Avenue Assembly Plant in October 1995. Although Chrysler considered ending production because of serious financial problems, on September 14, 2010, the then chief executive Sergio Marchionne announced and previewed a new model of the Viper for 2012. In 2014, the Viper was named number 10 on the Most American Cars list, meaning 75% or more of its parts are manufactured in the US. The Viper was eventually discontinued in 2017 after being in production for 26 years. The 0 to 60 miles per hour time on a Viper varies from around 3.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds. Top speed ranges from 160 miles per hour to over 200 miles per hour, depending on variant and year. Development history. The Viper was initially conceived in late 1988 at Chrysler's Advanced Design Studios. The following February, Chrysler President Bob Lutz suggested to Tom Gale at Chrysler Design Center that the company should consider producing a modern Cobra, and a clay model was presented to Lutz a few months later. Produced in sheet metal by metal crafters, the car appeared as a concept at the North American International Auto Show in 1989. Public reaction was so enthusiastic that Chief Engineer Roy Schoberg was directed to develop it as a standard production vehicle. But then Chrysler chairman Lee Iacocca delayed approving the $70 million needed to put the sports car into production, saying it was a lot to spend without assurance of financial return. Schoberg selected 85 engineers to be Team Viper, with development beginning in March 1989. The team asked the then Chrysler subsidiary Lamborghini to cast a prototype aluminum block for the sports car to use in May. The production body was completed in fall 1989, with a chassis prototype running in December. Though a V8 engine was first used in the test mule called White Mule, the V10 engine, which the production car was meant to use, was ready in February 1990. Official approval from Iacocca came in May 1990. By auto industry standards, $70 million was not a lot of money, but the potential and improved image was fantastic. 1 year later, Carroll Shelby piloted a pre-production car as the pace vehicle in the Indianapolis 500 race. In November 1991, the car was released to reviewers with the first retail shipments beginning in January 1992. The powerful two-seater, sold for $52,000, sparked immediate interest in the Dodge brand among enthusiasts and the automotive press. Lutz hoped it would raise the spirits of the designers and engineers who were discouraged by the homely, unpopular cars that they had been commanded to produce. The popularity of the Viper overshadowed the recent failure of Iacocca's pet car, the TC, which had cost 5 times as much to develop. First generation, SR1, 1991 to 1995. The first prototype was tested in January 1989. It debuted in 1991 with 2 pre-production models as the pace car for the Indianapolis 500 when Dodge was forced to substitute it in place of the Japanese-built Dodge Stealth because of complaints from the United Auto Workers, and went on sale in January 1992 as the RT-10 Roadster. Lamborghini, then owned by Chrysler Corporation, helped with the design of the V10 engine for the Viper, which was based on the Chrysler's LA V8 engine. A major contributor to the Viper since the beginning was Dick Winkles, the chief power engineer, who had spent time in Italy overseeing the development of the engine. Originally engineered to be a performance car, the Viper had no exterior-mounted door handles or key cylinders and no air conditioning. However, this was added as an option for the 1994 to 95 models, and climate controls featured a snowflake icon, which indicated a potential setting for the AC. The roof was made from canvas, and the windows were made from vinyl using zippers to open and close, much like the Jeep Wrangler. However, the Viper was still equipped with some domestic features, including manually adjustable leather-trimmed sport bucket seats with lumbar support, an AM/FM stereo cassette player with clock and high-fidelity sound system, and interior carpeting. Aluminum alloy wheels were larger in diameter due to the larger brakes. A lightweight fiberglass hard roof option on later models was also available to cover the canvas soft roof, and was shipped with each new car. There were also no airbags, in the interest of weight reduction. Adjustable performance suspension was also an available option for most Vipers. The engine weighs 323 kilograms, 712 pounds, and is rated at 400 horsepower, 406 PS, 298 kilowatts, at 4,600 RPM and 630 Nm, 465 lb-ft, of torque at 3,600 RPM. Due to the long gearing allowed by the engine, it provides fuel economy, at a United States Environmental Protection Agency rated 12 mpg/US in the city and 20 mpg/US on the highway. The body is a tubular steel frame with resin transfer molding, RTM, fiberglass panels. The car has a curb weight of 1,490 kilograms, 3,280 pounds, and lacks modern driver aids such as traction control and anti-lock brakes. The SR1 can accelerate from 0 to 100 km per hour, 0 to 62 miles per hour, in 4.2 seconds, 0 to 161 km per hour, 0 to 100 miles per hour, in 9.2 seconds, can complete the quarter mile in 12.6 seconds at the speed of 183 km per hour, 114 miles per hour, and has a maximum speed of approximately 266 km per hour, 165 miles per hour. Its large tires allow the car to average close to 1 lateral G in corners. However, the car proves tricky to drive at high speeds, particularly for the unskilled driver. Second generation, SR2, 1996 to 2002. The second generation of the Viper, codenamed SR2, was introduced in 1996. The exposed side exhaust pipes on the Roadster were relocated to a single muffler at the rear, exiting via two large central tailpipes during the middle of the model year, which reduced back pressure, and therefore increased the power to 415 horsepower, 309 kilowatts, 421 PS. Torque would also increase by 23 lb-ft, 31 Nm, to 488 lb-ft, 662 Nm. A removable hardtop was now available along with a sliding glass window. Some steel suspension components were replaced by aluminum, resulting in a 60 pounds, 27 kilograms, weight reduction. Later in the 1996 model year, Dodge introduced the Viper GTS, a new coupe version of the Viper SRT-10. Dubbed the Double Bubble, the roof featured slightly raised sections that looked like bubbles to accommodate the usage of helmets, and taking design cues from the Shelby Daytona designed by Pete Brock. More than 90% of the GTS was new in comparison to the RT10 despite similar looks. The GTS would come with the same 7,990 cubic centimeters, 8.0 L, 487.6 cu V10 engine, but power would be increased to 450 horsepower, 336 kilowatts, 456 PS, at 5,200 RPM and 664 Nm, 490 lb-ft, of torque at 3,700 RPM. The 1996 GTS would be the first Viper to be equipped with airbags, and also included air conditioning, power windows and power door locks as standard equipment. The Viper GTS would be chosen as the pace car for the 1996 Indianapolis 500. Minor updates would continue in 1997 and 1998. In 1997, the RT10 would receive a power increase to 450 horsepower along with airbags and power windows. In 1998, both of the versions of the Viper were equipped with second-generation airbags, revised exhaust manifolds, saving 24 pounds, 11 kilograms over the previous cast iron components, along with a revised camshaft. In 2000, the Dodge Viper was updated to lighter hypereutectic pistons and received factory frame improvements. While the hypereutectic pistons provided less expansion, the forged pistons were preferred by customers for the supercharged and turbocharged aftermarket packages. TSB, Technical Service Bulletin, recalls 998 and 999 were done at local dealerships to repair the 1996 to 1999 Viper frames by adding gussets with rivets near the steering box. 2001 saw the addition of anti-lock braking system. Colors would vary throughout the second generation. Dodge would offer 3 or 4 colors per model year. Some colors such as steel gray were only offered for one model year, my 2000, while other colors such as red were offered during the entire second generation. Interior colors and wheel options would also vary throughout the second generation. The cobalt blue color of the Dodge Viper GTS seen in the Viper TV series was exclusively available to the series. Stripes would be an option beginning in 1996. The GTS stripes were larger, fuller stripes than the stripes offered on the 96 Route 10. The GTS had twin stripes, 8 inches wide with a 4-inch gap in between, that ran from the front bumper all the way through the rear bumper. 1996 was the only model year in which the stripes would run through the rear license plate area. Stripes on later models would run from front to rear, but did not run through the rear license plate area. The RT-10 was replaced by the SRT-10 Roadster in 2003, and the GTS was replaced in 2006 by the SRT-10 Coupe. Third generation, ZB1, 2003 to 2006. The Dodge Viper underwent a major redesign in 2002, courtesy of Daimler Chrysler's Street and Racing Technology Group, taking cues from the Dodge Viper GTS-R concept presented in 2000. The new Viper SRT-10, which replaced both the GTS and the RT-10, was heavily restyled with sharp, angled bodywork. The engine's displacement was increased to 8.3 L, 505.6 cu in, 8,285 cubic centimeters, which, with other upgrades, increased the maximum power output to 500 horsepower, 507 PS, 373 kilowatts at 5,600 RPM and 525 lb-ft, 712 Nm of torque at 4,200 RPM. Despite the power increase, the engine weight was reduced to about 500 pounds, 230 kilograms. The chassis was also improved, becoming more rigid and weighing approximately 80 pounds, 36 kilograms, less than the previous model. An even lighter and stronger aluminum space frame chassis was in development for the next generation model, but the project was shelved because of parent company Chrysler's financial crisis. The stillborn project, created by Mercedes in the first place, was used as a basis by Daimler for the development of the Mercedes-Benz SLS-AMG. The initial model introduced was a convertible. In 2004, Dodge introduced a limited edition Mamba package. Mamba edition cars featured black interiors, with red stitching and trim. Price increased by about $3,000. 200 cars with the Mamba package were produced. The Viper SRT-10 Coupe was introduced at the 2005 Detroit Auto Show as a 2006 model. It shares many of its body panels with the convertible, but borrows its side and rear styling from the competition Coupe concept. The Coupe looks much like the previous Viper GTS and retains the double bubble roof shape of the original along with the original GTS tail lights, as well as retaining the original GTS blue with white stripes paint scheme on the initial run of first edition cars like the original Viper Coupe. The engine is SAE certified to be rated a maximum power output of 510 horsepower, 517 PS, 380 kilowatts, at 5,600 RPM and 535 lb-ft, 725 Nm, of torque at 4,200 RPM. Unlike the original Coupe, the chassis was not modified. No cars were produced for the 2007 model year. Instead, Chrysler extended production of the 2006 model while preparing the updated 2008 model. Fourth generation, ZB2, 2008 to 2010. In 2008, with the introduction of the 8,382 cubic centimeters, 8.4 L, 511.5 cu in, V10 engine, the power output was raised to 592 to 600 horsepower, 441 to 447 kilowatts, 600 to 608 PS, at 6,100 RPM and 560 lb-ft, 759 Nm, of torque at 5,000 RPM. The engine also received better flowing heads with larger valves, Mechadyne cam-in-cam variable valve timing on the exhaust cam lobes, and dual electronic throttle bodies. The rev limit could be increased by 300 RPM due to the improved valve train stability from both the new camshaft profiles and valve springs. The engine was developed with some external assistance from McLaren Automotive and Ricardo Consulting Engineers. Electronic engine control was developed by Continental AG. The controller can monitor the crankshaft and cylinder position up to 6 times during each firing and has 10 times more processing power than the previous unit. Changes outside of the engine were less extreme, but a distinction between the third and fourth generation of the Viper is the vented engine cover. The Tremec T56 transmission was replaced with a new Tremec TR6060 with triple first gear synchronizers and doubles for higher gears. The Dana M44-4 rear axle from the 2003 to 2006 model now had a GKN Visco-Lock speed sensing limited slip differential that greatly helps the tires in getting grip under acceleration. Another performance upgrade was the removal of run-flat tires. The new Michelin Pilot Sport 2 tires increased grip and driver feedback and, along with revised suspension, springs, anti-roll bars, and shock valving, made the Viper more neutral in cornering. Another notable change was the reworked exhaust system. Previous third-generation cars had their exhaust crossover under the seats, which resulted in a large amount of heat going into the cockpit, which was done initially to help improve the car's exhaust note, since the first 2 generations of the Viper, which had no crossover, were criticized for their lackluster exhaust notes. The car now featured a new exhaust system with no crossover, reducing the heat that entered the cockpit. The electrical system was completely revised for 2008. Changes included a 180-amp alternator, twin electric cooling fans, electronic throttles, and completely new Venom engine management system. CAN bus architecture had been combined with pre-existing systems to allow for regulatory compliance. The fuel system was upgraded to include a higher capacity fuel pump and filtration system. The Viper ACR made a return for the ZB2 generation, and was put through its paces at the Nürburgring, clocking in a record time of 7 minutes and 22.1 seconds. Kuno Wittmer piloted a street-legal 2010 Dodge Viper ACR to a record lap of 1 minute and 59.995 seconds at Miller Motorsports Park in Tooele, Utah, on Monday, April 11, breaking the 2-minute mark for the first time in a production car on the 3.048-mile outer course configuration. On November 4, 2009, Dodge brand president and CEO Ralph Gillis announced that the Viper would end production in the summer of 2010. During an event hosted by Dodge and the Viper Club of America on July 1, 2010, the final production ZB2 Viper, which was given a gold finish and accentuated by contrasting orange stripes, rolled off the assembly line and was presented before attendees of the ceremony. 5th Generation VX 2013 to 2017. At a dealer conference on September 14, 2010 in Orlando, Florida, the then Chrysler Group and Fiat CEO Sergio Marchionne was reported to have concluded his remarks by unveiling a rolling 2012 Dodge Viper prototype. The Viper was also on display for one night only in Salt Lake City, Utah at the 11th Viper Owners Invitational or VOI 11 from September 30, 2010 to October 3, 2010. Ralph Gillis was in attendance and gathered feedback from potential customers about the exterior design of the car. The Generation 5 badge was unveiled as well at this event on each dining table in the hall. In autumn of 2011, Ralph Gillis announced that the next generation of the Viper would debut at the New York Auto Show in April 2012. The 2013 SRT Viper was unveiled at the 2012 New York Auto Show. Preliminary specifications include the following: all aluminum 8,382 cubic centimeters, 8.4L, 511.5 CUN, V10 engine rated at 640 horsepower, 477 kilowatts, 649 PS, at 6,150 RPM and 600 lb-ft, 813 Nm, of torque at 4,950 RPM. Tremec TR6060 6-speed manual transmission with final drive ratio of 3.55. 50% improvement in torsional stiffness over previous model. Electronic stability control, traction control, 4-channel anti-lock brake system, ABS, carbon fiber and aluminum skin with 0.364 drag coefficient, CD, Pirelli P00 rated tires, 4-piston Brembo brakes with fixed aluminum calipers with vented 355x32 diameter rotors. 20 mm lower seating position, 7-inch full-color customizable instrument cluster, Uconnect RA3 or RA4 access in-vehicle connectivity system with optional Sirius XM travel link, and a Harman Kardon audio system. Bi-xenon projector headlamps with white light-emitting diode, LED, daytime running lamps and LED turn signals, LED tail lamps with integrating stop and turn illumination and snakeskin texture lens. A maximum speed of 332 km per hour, 206 miles per hour, and a 0 to 100 km per hour, 0 to 60 miles per hour, acceleration time of 3.50 seconds. The only notable change for the 2014 model year was the addition of a third traction control mode for improved performance during rain. Sales of the Viper for 2013 and 2014 were poor. In October 2013, production was reduced by 1/3 due to low sales and growing inventory. In April 2014, production ceased for over 2 months due to slow sales. Dodge addressed the issue by reducing the price of unsold 2014 models by $15,000 and announced the 2015 models would carry the new, lower price tag. In 2015, the SRT Viper was renamed the Dodge Viper, and the engine received an extra 5 HP, raising the maximum power output to 645 horsepower, 481 kilowatts. There was also an improved highway fuel economy of 20 miles per gallon. In October 2015, Fiat Chrysler Group announced that the Viper would end production in 2017. Initially, Fiat Chrysler cited poor sales as a reason for discontinuing the Viper. However, other sources have stated the car was discontinued because the Viper was unable to comply with FMVSS 226 safety regulation, which requires side curtain airbags. In July 2017, Fiat Chrysler announced they would be permanently closing the Conner assembly plant on August 31, 2017.